Hey guys, it's Will here from Singletrack magazine and singletrackworld.com, and I'm currently in Slovenia in a place called KRANJSKA GORA on the Shimano XTR Media Camp. Now this is the first opportunity that journalists have had a chance to ride the brand new XTR 12-speed group set, and for the last 2 days I've been riding this very lightweight Scott Spark RC World Cup, and it is decked out with a 1x12 drivetrain and Shimano's XTR race brakes as well. So I wanted to give you my first impressions of riding this group set. Now, as I mentioned, this is the race group set we've got here. Shimano is offering a ton of options with the new M9100 group set. So you're able to choose from 2-piston and 4-piston brakes. There are 3 different cassette options. So you've got a 10 to 51, 10 to 45, and there's also an 11-speed 10 to 45. Now that is a little bit different, a bit more specialist. It requires an even more specialist rear hub, so I won't be talking about that right now. You've got options with the crankset as well. You can run 1x or 2x. Unfortunately, there are no double options here for us to test ride, so we've only been on the single ring drivetrain. You've got 2 different Q factors with the crankset as well, depending on the frame that you're using. Up at the shifter end, you've got integrated clamp options for the brake and shifter, or you can have separate clamp options as well. There's even an option to run a Shimano dropper post lever on the left-hand brake. So a load of options for customizing the group set depending on how you ride, where you ride, and what your priorities are. Now this bike here is decked out with the full race group set. So it's a 1x12 setup. We've got the huge 10 to 51 tooth cassette on the back. On the front I have a 32 tooth chainring. We've been doing some pretty steep climbs here the last 2 days of riding, so I really appreciated having that big 51 tooth out the back. But this being such a lightweight bike, to be honest, I haven't spent a whole lot of time in those lower gears because it is so easy to pedal uphill, which is very nice. I guess early impressions of this group set, it is really, really smooth. On top of that, it is very quiet as well. I think that's the biggest thing that all of us have noticed here, is especially riding in a big group, you know, often up to 15 riders, 20 riders at a time, everyone's bikes are running very, very quiet. And I'm sure the mechanics have spent a lot of time making sure that the bikes are dialed in, but there's just so little noise that's coming from this drivetrain. It's very, very quiet. A big reason for that is also the rear hub. Now, Shimano has developed a special FREEHUB for this new 10 to 51 and 10 to 45 tooth cassette. It's called SPLINE. It kind of looks like a standard Shimano FREEHUB body, but it is a smaller diameter, and that is to fit that 10 tooth sprocket. You can't do that with a standard FREEHUB body. But they've rolled out a whole bunch of other improvements with SPLINE. The biggest of which is a new FREEHUB mechanism, which they're calling SCYLENCE. It's named accordingly because it basically is silent. It's a ratchet system, and it provides, I believe, 7.6 degree engagement, so very fast pickup. But when you're coasting, the mechanism disengages, and because it disengages, not only do you get less friction for less rolling resistance, but you basically get dead quiet performance. That's been really interesting, and I think an area where I really noticed this was actually descending really loose, scrabbly fire road without any buzz coming from the rear hub. You can actually hear the rear tyre as it's about to break traction, so you can really finely modulate your braking and also your lean angle and your speed, because you can hear the tyres a lot more than, say, if you had a really buzzy, loud FREEHUB mechanism. I think there'll be riders out there who will miss that kind of really loud engagement like you'd get from a Chris King or from some DT Swiss hubs as well. But I actually really like this silent rear hub. It's a great way to be able to hear other areas of the bike as well. But it's just less of a distraction on the trail too, which is nice. For braking, I've got the 2-piston brakes. These are brand new for XTR group set. Now they do use a smaller disc brake pad compared to the current 2-piston XTR, XT, SLX brakes. This pad is actually shared with the Dura Ace and Ultegra road calipers, and it's designed to provide a little less bite, really nice modulation, and because this brake is designed for racing, it doesn't need to have huge amounts of power. In terms of feel, I really like Shimano's lever blade. These are carbon fiber lever blades. They've got a really nice hook to them. The lever body itself has been stiffened up. It's got a brace against the handlebar, so as you're really tugging on the lever, there's less flex in the master cylinder, so the braking feel is really, really nice. They're definitely less bitey. Slightly less on-off feel than the current 2-piston brakes from Shimano. The power comes on a little bit more gently, a little bit smoother, and that's really good given that we're running quite lightweight, low tread profile tires. You don't want a brake that comes on really quickly. You want to be able to finely modulate the power so you're less likely to break traction accidentally by panic braking. So the brake feel is really good. We've been doing some pretty long descents as well, and I've been dragging the brakes a long way, but they've remained really consistent. No changes to the bite point, which is nice, and very consistent power. There's very little fade. There's definitely less power than the 4-piston XTR brakes. That there is no denying. But if you're a cross-country rider or you're a lightweight trail rider, and if you don't need a really powerful brake, these are the ones to go for in the new XTR line. So really nice. Aside from that, I don't have a whole lot else to report. Everything's worked really well. Everything's been really smooth and quiet. It shifts gears. The range is great. It's a slightly bigger range than the SRAM Eagle's 500%. This is 510%. So you do have a little lower range. We're splitting hairs though there really. Aside from that, I think the adjustability that's available in the cockpit with the new iSpec EV mounts, it allows you to really alter the position of the shift paddles. You've got loads of lateral adjustment, loads of angular adjustment as well, and that means you can get those paddles in the right spot. So I've been playing around with that quite a bit just to get everything nice and comfortable and the levers in the right position. Speaking of the levers, love those rubber pads on the shift paddles. It surprises me that we've not seen that before, so hats off to Shimano for thinking of a really small detail. So yeah, there you go. That's my first impressions of this XTR group set. So far, all very positive, all working very well. Tomorrow I'll get on the 4-piston brakes, so I'll bring you a report tomorrow on those. We'll be riding a more technical Enduro style trail, so it'll be a good test for those brakes. But otherwise, if you want more information on the XTR line, I'll have my first ride report on singletrackworld.com, so you'll be able to get all of the details on the new XTR M9100 group set, along with my first ride impressions. Hope you've enjoyed watching. Thanks guys, Turu.